been helping students, families, educators understand the importance of going to Israel, specifically on their gap year. And I recently wrote a book that I think we mentioned to you called Find Your Right Direction, Israel Gap Year Guide. And in it, it has, we spotlight about 60 programs that gives you a real like overview for that. And I think some of your counselors have it if you're in the high school. Otherwise, it's available on Amazon. And there's a lot of, you know, little quizzes and you know, things to think about when you're making your decision, as well as looking at the programs themselves. So that's that. But we're here today to just sort of answer your questions about an Israel gap year. I'm going to do a quick little gap year 101 plus a little insight on Israel, and then I'm just going to give you a little overview about how this little talk's going to go. Then we're going to introduce ourselves. We're kind of a small group where we're expecting maybe another few people to come on. Like I think there's going to be about 18 people altogether. And we'll introduce ourselves. I'd love to know where you're calling from and what school you're either associated with, and you know, what are your interests, like what made you decide to, what about Israel, or etc., and what kind of programming you want. And on here we have several alums that will join us on different kinds of programs, and I'll be here to answer questions, and they will, and I will introduce them when we go through the introduction section. So without further ado, I think we'll start the presentation. Okay.
All right, hang on one second here. Here we go.
So here we are. So that's us, American Israel Gap Year Association. How do I do it so I can just see the program? Let's see, is it this one? No, that's not the one I want. How do I just want us? Yeah. I can't get our, want to just see the whole, Dave, I don't know why I can't get the whole presentation. It's not letting me. No.
You can't see the slide?
No, the slides aren't coming up. View. I'm viewing your screen and not the screen, not the presentation screen. Oh, here, share. Okay, here we go. But now I want to close the gallery so that I can see it. How is that? Why is it not doing that? Oh, there we go.
Okay.
All right.
Are you good?
So,
can you see it?
Now I can see it. Yes. So the big question is why you need a gap year. Some of you are asking those questions yourself right now. I spoke to Anna for a few minutes about curiosity about it. And I know that all you wonderful high school kids are working so hard, okay, and trying to get into colleges and etc. And a lot of times students find that they've spent so much time trying to get into college that they forgot why they were, what was the reason. Obviously you want to go to expand your horizons, but sometimes it seems you're doing all these things without a sense of direction or purpose. And we want you to have that. And sadly, sometimes when that happens, if you don't have that direction, there's a big high school dropout rate in that freshman year. And instead of taking 4 years, it takes 6 years to graduate because you're trying to find that purpose when you get there. So let's go on to the next slide. So the gap year helps you create some focus and ownership of your decisions for the next part of your life. I like to call, even though it's called a gap year, it is not a big hole. It is actually a bridge between all the foundational things that you've done so far and kind of a bridge to your next step, your post-secondary experience. And some of those benefits that you get, of course, is to develop your personal and social maturity, to help you with responsibilities. And I think one of our alums is going to speak about that, to give you some time to think about who you are and where you're going and how to deal with life before life deals with you. It also helps you allows you the opportunity for academic exploration, so that you can increase your portfolio for yourself, not based on the classes you had to take but on the things that you might be interested in. Also gives you that sense of direction that I talked to you about, whether it's to expand career goals, to increase your energy and enthusiasm about what's going on, and to get you more involved maybe in campus life in an area that you might be interested. And last but not least, it's proven to show a lot of job success, because very often you meet people and have experiences that create relationships along the way that help you increase your professional resume. So let's continue. So a lot of people say, okay, well, what do students say about this gap year? And some of our research that has shown that 97% of the students that have gone on a gap year say that it has indeed increased their maturity. It helped them with their self-confidence, personal self-confidence. Almost 90%, well, 90%, not almost 90%, return after the first 1 year. Some go on to do more work. Some create, go to do further exploration in their field, do some internships, etc. But primarily, this is a 1 year process, and then return to the college of their choice. I usually do recommend that students do apply to a college before they go in a gap year, and then they can make their decision as they come back, if that is where they want to go. 77% found their actual purpose in life, which is sort of exciting. Many people are in their 30s and 40s have not found their purpose in life, and you will be ahead of the game. And 66 have run academics more seriously, and 57 have decided on their college major. And that is a huge important point I'm going to make, because part of the reason students take longer than the 4 years to graduate is that there's many major changes. They put in a major early in their college career, invest a lot of time, find out that's not really where they want to focus, and then changing majors. And that puts them a little bit behind the 8 ball in terms of timing of their graduation. So let's move on. So now, you're all here really not just about going to Israel, but about gap year in general, but about Israel specifically, and that's what we're here to ultimately answer your questions. So the point and why we want kids to consider Israel is that from a personal point of view, we want you to, for yourself, take ownership of your identity and solidify your relationship with Israel. I know many of you have had personal experiences, whether it's with camps, whether it's now it's really on you. This is about you deciding the kind of Jewish person that you might want to be, and what is that relationship to your life in the future, and that relationship to Israel. It's going to fortify yourself to remain true to your Jewish values and resist pressures to conform. Many students find that when they get on a college campus, if they have been in a particularly an environment that's been very supportive Jewishly, they might be in a college that has the world is their oyster, so to speak, and it's a whole new world, requires a lot of questions about who they are and where they're going, and it helps them, once they know who they are, to make those decisions about where they're going to go, Jewishly and in the world at large. Also, people hear a lot about Israel, and when you're there on the ground, you become eyewitnesses to Israel's strengths and challenges. And you will be able to participate in more informed conversations about Israel as you get on the college campus, or just in your world itself, because you alone will be able to have seen it, and you will be able to answer questions or misinformation or whatever that might come your way. And of course, the gap year, as we've already discussed, this is proven, has increases academic success. But the gap year in Israel is actually life-changing, and it really does, help who you are and where you're going. So let's continue. Okay, so one of the things that you're going to find, obviously, going to Israel will help you become a better global citizen for a variety of reasons. Israel is, first of all, a first world country, but it also is an extremely diverse country in which you're going to see a variety of Jews and non-Jews, and it's going to broaden your horizons and give you a better insight, not just about who you are, but who are other people in the world that you can interact with. Continue. Of course, you're going to experience the land from the huge big city, ancient ruins, religious experiences, and with Israel, geographically, you have the sea, the desert, the mountains, all available to you, all in one country. Then, so now I kind of want you to think about, this is when now, what are your goals about going on a gap year? You know, how do you make decisions? You know, are you a big list maker? Are you a spur of the moment kind of person? What's your best quality? What do you, are you a talker? Are you more introverted? You know, what are the areas that you see that you need your own growth? These are the kinds of questions that I hope that you will ask yourself as you're starting on this explorative mission in terms of the kind of gap year that you want. When you think about the upcoming year, how do you feel? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel excited about it? Is it going to open your mind? You know, how does that make you feel? And think about also, when you come back from a gap year, what is it that you want to be able to say to your buddies? I met the most interesting people. I was influenced by these incredible mentors. You know, I traveled around the country and saw these interesting things. Because all of these questions and the answers that you come up with will kind of determine the kind of gap year program that you want to, you know, find yourself in. Continue. So gap year programs opportunities are unlimited. They go from structured group opportunities to very skill-based internships. I call them planned solo expeditions. I mean, there's a program for every interest, from, you know, academic learning to religious learning to, you know, farming, etc. And also plan solo things when you go on yourself. I really want to emphasize the word plans, because there is a big difference between a gap year and a goof year. Even if you really want to go and do things on your own, you're more of a person that likes spur of the moment things, you still should sit down, and we're going to talk about this, to plan them so you don't find yourself, you know, floundering around wondering what's your next move. Continuing. You want to make the most of this year. I think one of our gap year alums will probably be able to speak to this, that the year is shorter than you think, and you want to make the most out of your time. So now, how do we choose a gap year? You've asked these questions of yourself that are more internal. Now, I wanted you to ask some other questions, which is, you know, what are your motivators? What, you know, what's your interest? What sparks your attention? You know, and location is very important. Where do you feel more comfortable? You know, there are so many programs in Israel. You can be in a big city, you can be in a very rural community. Do you like urban? Do you like small? Do you like big? These are things you should ask yourself, because this will be your home for a year and you want to feel good about it. Mentorship. I really can't emphasize strongly enough the importance of people of inspiration. This is, you know, the kinds of people that are in your program that are going to help you guide, whether it's peer-to-peer, whether it's people with a lot of experience. Who are the people that run the program that you're on? Who are the people that you would like to surround yourself with to learn from? And now that's the next step, which is focused learning. Even though a gap year is primarily experiential learning, things that you're going to be more hands-on and learning, there are different types, you know, whether it's learning a skill specific, whether it's personal exploration. Don't be afraid, even if it's academic, it is learning, but now it's learning for its own sake. And again, the structure. You know, are you an all-day learner? Do you want to sit at a desk? Do you feel comfortable doing that? It's not just because we're saying it's a gap year and away from academics. It's it's okay to want to learn something you want to learn all day. But you may also be someone who really needs more free time. You know, think about that when you choose your program. And travel. You may find yourself in an ideal location, but don't be afraid to, you know, explore all the surroundings that is Israel, and go and travel and find all the different things that make it tick. And lastly, take responsibility and show initiative. This is what you're going to be learning over this year to create your own independence. We talked at the beginning about taking ownership of your decisions. Part of it is also taking ownership and independence of showing, you know, jumping in and doing new things and learning new things, and, you know, taking yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone. Okay. So the next step, I think you're starting on the whole thing. You're talking to me. You're going on these webinars that are here. We do many of these over the years. We also do counseling. Do some internet research and social media. AIGYA has a great Instagram program where we follow gap year students in all our programs across the board on Instagram at Israel Gap Year. You can follow the real-time gap year students and see their life while it's happening. I invite you to follow and get a feel for what it's like there. And many of our ambassadors there, you can reach out to them and ask them questions. And that leads to alumni conversations. Several are going to be on this call in a minute, and they can, you know, whatever program you ultimately decide to look at, you should seek out some alums and see what their experiences were like. And counseling, of course, if you have an inside counselor, you know, seek out their wisdom. If not, we're here at AIGYA. We have counseling, or we can certainly turn you on to some other private counselors if that is how you want to proceed. Okay. And then you have to evaluate, you have to do your due diligence about the program itself. How long has the program been in existence? Is it a new program versus a long time program? What kind of supervision? This may be something that mom and dad, who's, if they're on the phone or the webinar, want to know about, but you should know about that too. You know, who's going to be around if there's an accident, or what's the safety director? You know, who are the contact people on the ground? You know, is it going to be hard for you to access people if you need them, or very easy? Obviously, there is website and documentation on the program. I wouldn't expect you to find a program without it, but just be sure that you look into it. And again, you know, find your alumni that you can talk to. So how can we help you? Our purpose is to be objective and an inclusive resource. So we're not here to have you turn out one way or another. We just want to find, as my book is called, we want you to find your right direction. So we're here to just be here as a jumping off place so that you can, you know, find that place that's best for you. We do things like this all through the years. So we invite you, I think we'll put you on our mailing list, and you're always welcome to reach out. I invite you to follow our Instagram. You'll get a lot of insight there. And of course, visit our webpage, because we always put in new information about the programs themselves. And of course, as I just told you, we have the counseling. The book is there for you. We update it every year on the digital one, and every 3 years on the paperback, but right now it's very up to date because it was just published this year. So you can totally look into that if that will help you to do some quick exploration. So I think we can go to the next, and then we're gonna this is just a couple of things that some of our alums have said. You can read this yourself a little bit, but I think the whole idea of you know, what is a gap year? It's not a break, but a foundation, and really developing, you know, more confidence, as we discussed, and taking the tools for wherever they go. But I love, my favorite one that one of my alums last year wrote is the first one, which was what it means to grow, because it's very hard to put your finger on growth. What does that mean? And she says that it means creating special connections with mentors who inspire her, This was a young lady. It meant meeting and learning people every day that are completely different points of views and opinions. And it means being given unlimited opportunities to do good in the community. And I think that to me, that really says what growth is. It's different for every person, but I think that's a good thumbnail sketch of what growth might be and what you might gain from your experience. So I think we're, with that done, I think we are done with that part of the presentation. And I'd like to get back to the group here. Dave, if we can open up, if you put your screen on so I can see all your smiling faces. I'd love to meet you all. Anna, I'm going to start with you. Can you just introduce yourself, what school you go to, where you are located in the country?
Yes, of course. I'm from Manhattan. I live in New York. The school that I go to is called Dwight. And yeah, I'm a junior. So I'm just looking at different gap years.
Sky, and tell us maybe a little bit about what prompted you to look into a gap year in Israel.
Sky or me?
Either one. You can finish with what prompted you to look into a gap year, and then we'll go to Sky.
Okay. I have always been interested in looking into that possibility for after high school. And I know some people that went on gap years specifically in Israel. So I know some alums and they're like 19, 20 years old now. And they always told me that they never regretted taking a gap year. And it really, really helped them like in college later on. So that's something that that's why I wanted to look into it.
Great. Sky.
Hi, I go to Ramaz. I live in Manhattan. And I was just thinking about, I'm not really sure exactly which gap year I want to go on, but my sister went on Bar Ilan. So I'm kind of interested in going there, but I also just want to obviously learn about other ones and see what I'm more interested in.
Sounds good. Cheryl, are you a parent, a counselor? Tell me how did we get so lucky to have you on this program today?
Well, thank you so much. So I am a parent of 2 gap year alum who had amazing years. So that is one part of my identity, but I'm here today because I've just started a new job.
Oh, yes, of course.
As the director of gap year recruitment for Masa. And so I am here to hear your wisdom, Phyllis, and get your point of view and hear also what people are looking for in gap year, because that's what I do. I believe in it strongly. So I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, and Cheryl, Masa and us are long time partners. So we work together. So and Marnie Heller is one of the people that are going to talk a little bit about and answer some questions. She's with JNF and Frontier Israel, which is a pluralistic, Zionistic builder of Israel new program. And we're going to have a few alums and representatives from programs to help us talk about the different types of programs that are available. So Marnie, I'm just going to let you, I just gave you an introduction, but you can say hello yourself.
Why, thank you. That was a perfect introduction.
Oh.
So actually, to relate a little bit in here, I live in New York City. I have one son who graduated Ramaz, and I have another son who was on Bar Ilan gap year, and then 2 of my children went on Nativ. So I am a parent of gap year students, and I actually went on a gap year student myself. I went to what is now Lindenbaum. So, really, it just came full circle for me.
Yeah, the whole world.
Yeah.
Gabi, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's it. I'll talk about my program later. Go.
Okay. Gabi is a current student right now at a wonderful program called Torah Tech. It is a learning program. At the moment, men's. They are going to open up a women's one in another couple of years, and it is an incredible program of half-day learning and incredible computer tech, coding, etc. You'll speak to it, but that is a type of program that some people can look into. I'll just let you say hello, Gabi, and then we'll move on.
Hi everyone. I'm also here in Manhattan. I'm an alum of Tower Tech, like Phil said. And yeah, so I guess I'll tell you a little bit more about Tower Tech later. Thank you.
Okay. Sasha can introduce herself, and she's also one of our alums, and she went to Mahon Mayon, and which is a women's learning program, which is very incredible and wonderful. And she's going to tell you a little bit about that as well, but that's a different type of program as well. But I'll let you introduce yourself, Sasha.
Yeah, hi, I'm Sasha. I went to Mahon Mayon. I'm currently in Los Angeles, California, so a little bit different than, the New Yorkers here, but I'm looking forward to telling you I had an amazing year in Israel, so definitely good choice to be here.
Is it Sharon? Who is?
We're here for
Yeah.
Lily. So it's Lily.
Oh, hi, Lily. Lily,
Hi.
can you tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, so I'm a senior. I live in the city of Chicago. I go to a Jewish high school. I'm really set. It's called Rochelle Zell. I'm really set on going on a gap year in Israel, but I'm really struggling with which program. I had had my eyes on Havruta gap year, but I've been learning all my life, and I've been going to programs through like youth groups and camp and school, and I think they're great, but I didn't enjoy them all the time, and I don't want to really be doing that I don't want that to be the only thing that's going on in my gap year. But I also don't want to be my other interest was year course through Young Judea.
Yes.
But I think there's like a lot of freedom on that I think I need a little more structure than that. So I can't, those are the ones I know about right now.
Finding that point that fits her.
Yeah, I don't really know of another program.
That is why we're here. So we're happy to have you, and we can talk to later and for other things, but we'll see if we can answer some questions right now as well.
Great.
Alexa, welcome.
Hello.
Can you tell us a little about yourself quickly?
I'm
where you're
Alexa.
from.
I'm a senior.
Where?
I live in Arlington, Virginia.
Okay.
And I've been pretty involved in the Jewish community. And so that's why I was thinking maybe Israel would be fun for a gap year. I've gotten into college, but I'm still considering whether a gap year might be a possibility.
Sounds good. Where do you go to high school?
Yorktown, or I used to go to Yorktown, but I transferred to field school.
Okay. And where were you accepted at college?
Eckerd.
Very nice. Joshua Halpern, one of our other alums from Levitt Torah, from our more traditional learning program. Hello.
Hello.
That was a yes.
Cool, awesome. So yeah, hi guys, my name is JJ Halpern. I'm 22, senior computer science student at University of Maryland. I went on Levitt Torah, as Phyllis explained, which is a traditional, Jewish learning program. But I've been on other programs in Israel, such as NC Built, which is a summer program. So I have been experience in the group-oriented scenario that Phyllis mentioned before. Although it doesn't seem like I can be a lot of use, considering many of you, or at least I think all of you so far, have been females. I can't exactly relate the yeshiva experience to you, considering you might not be able to go there. But nonetheless, I'm still able to talk about experiences because I have friends in other programs and whatnot, and just the general decision overall. I'm definitely able to help guide you through this process for sure.
Mark, hello. I think you're related to someone here on the screen.
Yes, hi there. I'm
Hi.
Alexa's dad. Nice to see everybody and learning a lot already. So thank you for that.
Okay. And Danielle, is it Danielle? Hello.
Yeah, hello. Sorry, we're eating dinner, so I'm not putting on my camera. But so we're from Arlington, Virginia. My son goes to Yorktown High School, and my son has gone to the Ramah camps for, since he was, 3rd or 4th grade. And we did contact Masa Israel, and they did recommend to the Aardvark and the Young Judea, but we're looking at some other programs. So we're still trying to figure out really what the best fit is.
Exactly.
So I think that's for us is the biggest challenge of figuring it out, and also figuring out, how to afford this, because, these programs are not inexpensive for a full year,
Mm-hmm.
at least for us.
Right. Where, what grade is your student in? And is it a boy or girl?
It's a boy, and he's a senior, so he'll be graduating this year. So we're hoping that he will go someplace in the fall, go to an Israel program. Whether, we're still also debating whether, does it make sense to do a semester versus a year-long program, and there's so many different paths that it's really difficult to start narrowing it down.
Yes, of course. Okay, so we'll see if we can address some any of your questions. And Shoshana, I think you're the last one in our little group today.
Hi, I don't know if you could hear me.
We
I'm very
can.
bad with technology. I have twins that are hopefully going to Israel next year, a girl and a boy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just looking to hear how people afford it, because it's very expensive, and especially if you're a single parent.
Well, maybe our MASA person might be able to address some of those questions, maybe. So we'll see. In any case, I think, is that everybody that's on our list, Dave? That's on our screens. I just want to make sure I said hello to
that's
everybody.
everyone.
And also, I'm going to introduce David Schwartz, who is my right-hand man assistant at AIGYA. So I'm going to just really open it up to any questions that you might have. I'd love maybe, would it be helpful? You can just raise your hands if our alums say a few words really about the kind of program they have first, and then you can address any questions. Yes, would that be helpful?
Yeah, that works.
Huh? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So, Marnie, start with you. Tell us the kind of program that Frontier Israel is on in terms of its type.
Sure. So we are a new program, which is part of another program that has been around for almost 50 years. We are pluralistic, and we focus on majorly two frontiers in Israel, the north and the south. So we spend a predominant amount of our time really pioneering the north and the south of Israel, and then the rest of the time spending in the center of Israel. So we are a volunteer program. So that's, a little different. It's not really a learning program. We're volunteering 3 or 4 days a week. Then we also have Ulpan. So there's a little bit of learning, but it's really more with speakers and seminars, really interactive seminars, and about geopolitics and different population. We're really trying to learn the communities. So the type of program this really is going into a community, living in a community. And we like to say, learning about Israel from the inside out. And then of course, we travel, like, most programs in Israel travel. We are a more structured program. So I would say, out of pluralistic programs out there, we are definitely a more structured program, really trying to help transition teens from high school into college in a way that gives them freedom, but really also gives them the structure to learn how to do it responsibly.
And also, just to point out, this is a co-ed program.
Yes, this is a co-ed program and
Right.
pluralistic. And we really have everyone from unaffiliated to modern Orthodox on our program.
Gabi, you're a recent alum, so why don't you address your kind of program?
Sure, no problem. So hi everyone. So I went to a program called Torah Tech. My year was actually the first year. And just to give a little bit of an idea of what Torah Tech actually is, it's basically combining like a traditional learning program with an opportunity to have an internship for the entire year. So this was really like a special opportunity for me. I knew that I wasn't necessarily cut out to sit and learn all day in yeshiva. And I was also like really excited to kind of move on from high school and get into like, things that I'm interested in. I forgot to mention before, I'm studying electrical engineering at the Cooper Union in Manhattan. So I really wanted to capitalize on the opportunity to kind of like, work somewhere or get some sort of internship experience. And Torah Tech did just that. So something I really like to say about Torah Tech is that there were no compromises. I got a really good Jewish education and religious experience with the phenomenal faculty and an amazing rabbi. I had a really, really good professional experience. I made connections that I would have, like, I think for the rest of my life. I can safely say that if I ever wanted to go back to Israel and have an internship or a job, the company I worked with would gladly take me in, thank God. And we also had tons of TULIM and trips and not to mention like the amazing people I met. It's a very small program, but don't let that scare you off. There were only 10 people in my year. It was all guys, but you really get to become close with these people. They're all very like-minded people, all there to like very motivated, very ready to go. And yeah, so that's just a little bit about Torah Tech. Thank you.
Sasha, you want to talk about your program and the kind of program and I think more traditional learning as well?
Sure. So I went to Mechon Mayan, which is an all-women seminary, and it's more traditional learning. So I spent most of the day learning, but then we also had TULIM, like trips around Israel, and we also had volunteering twice a week, and for half the day. I'm not supposed to talk about like my program specifically, I think, but I will because it's the best program ever, in my opinion. Obviously, everyone has to choose what's right for them, and I think that's super important. So I really think that I'm just giving some unwanted advice right here, but just definitely look at your options and see what's right for you, because if you choose the wrong seminary or yeshiva or gap year program or anything, then you're not going to have fun and you're not going to enjoy your time. So just make sure that you know what you want to do. But we did a lot of learning. So it was learning, but it was also, there were different levels of learning. So if you weren't super into learning, then you could take an art and Torah class, which focused on the artistic aspect of, taking something that you've learned from the Torah and applying it to art. We had a music school, so we had music classes if you wanted to go to. The rabbis and teachers and everyone was just really amazing, and everyone really wants to help you become the best you. And like I said before, if they don't feel like this is the right seminary for you or the right yeshiva or gap year program, they really just want you to be happy. So don't feel ashamed of like saying no, basically. Just make sure that you're choosing the right program for you.
And I think that is the theme here. I mean, it was the theme that I wrote, find your right direction. That is the point, as you can be, and you can only do that if you take the time and due diligence and find that right program, help, go to people that can help you glean that, but really delve into yourself and ask those questions of yourself, where you're going to find the most growth for you, So JJ, let's hear, but he's like, not only are you a long-term alum, you've also been in college now. So I think that is the gap year to transition, that also is something.
Yeah, absolutely. So my program is essentially the male version of what Sasha's program was, minus some things, but including some others. So we don't do as much, musicality or, musical stuff or, community service as, maybe some of the seminaries do. But if you want that, that's not a problem at all. Leva Torah is very open to let you doing whatever you want. I can't speak to other yeshivot. I know that other yeshivot can crack down on you depending on like whether you actually come to class or not. Leva Torah is not that kind of place at all. They're very open to, letting you learn what you want to learn, as well as having the experience that you want to experience. And just like Sasha said, if, they think this isn't the right place for you, they're totally fine with you switching out. They actually switch people in. There are people in my year who have switched out and in to both into Leva Torah and out of Leva Torah. So they're very open just to let you have the experience that you need to have inside of Israel. Another maybe a little bit of unwanted advice: but I'm not sure if Phyllis can share the slides to everybody, but a lot of these questions, I wish I asked myself before going to Israel. And maybe I just didn't have access to these questions, but a lot of them I really wish I did. These questions are not easy to answer. It takes, at least for me, it takes a long time for me to be introspective. But if I were to answer these questions back then, I would probably have gone to a different program than I did. And maybe even had a better of a time. Not saying that my program was not great, and I'm not saying that it's not influential in my life. It has literally been a life-changing experience. I'm very happy I went there. But maybe I could have even had a better experience somewhere else. Who knows? I can't tell. I only live one life. So yeah, I'm really here just for any advice when it comes to yeshiva, or really just programs in general. So yeah, thank you.
So I saw one question. Thank you so much, JJ. So that's our group, and you can feel free to ask them direct questions if you have. I just saw the question from Anna regarding Bar Ilan and Tel Aviv University. We do have more information about that, and you can ask us, reach out to me and ask specifically. And Marnie says she has some information both as a parent and probably a professional. From my perspective, they're both great. Bar Ilan is a modern Orthodox program that has both academics and Jewish enrichment. Tel Aviv University has a semester program in which you can also, that's a very, you go to Tel Aviv University for a semester, and also Hebrew U has a wonderful Rothenberg program that is a first year. You get to explore all their, you have access to all the different classes that Hebrew U has to offer. You can also do an add-on called Thrive, which is both the Tel Aviv and Hebrew U, in which there's a lot of more, Jewish-centric programming and travel, et cetera, built into that. And both of those are semester programs. The Bar Ilan is a year program. So we can do that. Marnie, did you want to add anything?
No, that's really it. My son was there last year. He had an amazing experience, created amazing relationships with the rabbis. It's not a yeshiva, so it's not the same type of learning. They really take courses at the university, so they have a little bit more of choice, but they also, do create these relationships with the people who are just for Bar Ilan XP. So that made it really special.
Right, and Bar Ilan is, the XP portion, Bar Ilan is a modern Orthodox program within the larger university. Tel Aviv and Hebrew U is a general program of which Thrive adds Jewish enrichment and does all kinds of things. It's not one program or another, but it does give you some traditional Jewish involvement if you're interested, and it's people really like having it because it adds a little more depth and gives you a little more community, for the people that go. Okay, next. How can I? You're welcome. Anybody else have a question?
I'm wondering, Phyllis, do you want me? I can speak just briefly about financial through Masa.
Yes, I think that would be a very wise thing.
Right. So I don't have all the details, but basically, just so you can understand, Masa is an organization that oversees, among other programs, 32 gap year programs. We are the largest provider or overseer of long-term immersive programs in Israel. And so almost all of the gap year programs that have been mentioned here this evening, including what Marnie is overseeing, as well as the Bar Ilan experience. Someone else mentioned Chevrutza, someone else mentioned Year Course. All of those are Masa programs. If you do go on one of those programs, Masa has money that they do give to everyone who goes on a Masa program. You either are eligible for a flat rate grant that's given to you, Masa grant, which I think at this point is $800. But then there are also need-based Masa scholarships that are given, and you.
Oops, we lost you.
In addition, oh, you can't hear me?
Yo, now I hear you, but we lost you for a moment. Continue.
Oh, okay, sorry. And specifically to yeshiva or a seminary, there are those scholarships directly through your yeshiva or seminary program. These programs, and it partially helps. It will become clear what you might be eligible for.
Okay. That was very helpful. And
I would add that most of these programs have need-based financial aid as well. So you can apply to the programs directly for need-based financial aid.
Yes, that is true. And it's not in conflict, Cheryl, with the MASA
Right.
grant.
Exactly. The MASA's in addition to that.
Right.
Would it be okay, Phyllis, if I put my email address in the chat?
Yes, I mean, I think absolutely. And Dave, would you put our email in there as well, our direct email, so that we can help you with any other, I know some people ask for one-on-one, and yes, we can totally do that. So next, any other questions? Yes, Sharon. Or Lily, sorry, it's Lily.
Yeah, it's okay. What will the programs, I don't know if you have enough information, but what would the programs look like next year COVID wise with the vaccines? Like, will they be very different?
Well, you know, certainly the information that I'm getting on the ground, and and Marnie may know from her experience currently, the information I'm getting from some of the private, I mean, first of all, these providers they did Herculean kind of approaches to try to make the experience amazing in spite of the challenges. And the students that went, I mean, I think to a student has not regretted going in spite of the challenges that were presented to them during this year. I would think, I know MASA specifically made you know, also efforts to get vaccines to the students that are currently there, which is amazing. And so that, I'm sure, is going to change the equation enormously. I think you do have to go program to program to see what their COVID situation will be. All of them want to open, but they open this year with less help. I mean, in terms of it was like a, you know, really a brave frontier. And now, of course, they have the vaccine, and the country at large will be pretty much vaccinated at that point. So I would say the first order of business is to contact the program you're interested in, see what they have in place, COVID wise, in terms of, you know, precautions, expectations, etc. MASA also has their finger on the pulse, and they're really, you know, Johnny on the spot with that and very upfront. And then so those would be my two first choices. We try to stay in touch with all the programs themselves, but that's the way that I would say that to go, because it is such a fluid thing ourselves from week to week. But it would not be a deterrent to go, because they're going to be open one way or the other.
If I could add my 2 cents
Yes.
to that question. I should actually also add, my sister is currently in Israel on a gap year program.
Yes.
She is in TVA, Torah Va'avodah, which is a seminary, a traditional learning seminary. But nonetheless, when it comes to the aspect of, you know, what is life looking like there, she has gotten corona, unfortunately, but luckily she's all better now. But because she has the antibodies, she's basically allowed to go anywhere. She's been on buses, she's been in malls without masks. So, and because the state has now been essentially 50% vaccinated, by the time you get there, I would assume things are very lenient. If not, I want to like assume basically back to normal, but it seems from like the direction and speed that they're vaccinating the entire population, you'll have a good chance of having a normal life of like or a normal gap year as you would expect.
So I would love to chime in.
Yes, please do.
So we are saying that we are still expecting in September that we're going to have a quarantine to start off. That is just because Israel is vaccinated, but not all of
The people coming in.
So hopefully everyone will be vaccinated, but we are expecting that there may still be a quarantine, which really in the scheme of things is 2 weeks to really get to know some people really well. And I can tell you that having spoken to our, young adults, our students who were in our quarantine, it happened to have been, an enriching experience for them. So I wouldn't let that deter you. And then otherwise, there's a lot to do in the country, even during COVID and even during lockdowns. Those who were volunteering in the yeshivot in our program, we became essential workers. We painted playgrounds. We went in and we really helped communities. I have to say that as a volunteer program, we probably did more meaningful volunteer during COVID than we ever will in all of our years because it was needed so desperately. So, I'm very proud of the work that all of these gap year students are doing in Israel this year. But I also just wanted to address the insurance.
Yes.
So I will say as a parent, we took through our healthcare program, right? So I think I'm United Healthcare now. I don't think I was then, but we called our healthcare providers and we added something onto our insurance policy to make sure that anything that wasn't covered in Israel was going to be covered by our insurance. I will tell you that all of the programs have to have COVID insurance.
Yes.
So the Ministry of Health, they, will not allow a program to happen without COVID insurance. So that is covered. And all of the programs make sure that there are places to quarantine if they need to. I mean, this is, no matter what, we are all in the business of taking care of somebody else's children. I don't care how old you are, you're somebody else's child. And that is, we're going to make sure, and I could say this, I know I could speak for every program provider, that's the first and foremost on our mind, bringing students to Israel.
And I could also add that each program also usually recommends an Israel insurance policy in addition, because you go to a clinic usually.
Yeah,
and so they have to have that card. So everybody has to get that. And then I'll also just chime in, there is a program called AIGYA, which is, has many of the programs have used. It is a medical concierge service. It does service kids that have pre-existing conditions like medical, issues, dietary issues, etc. And in addition to the insurance, they will go, like literally it's having your IMA there. They'll go to the doctor if you need to. They'll be your advocate. They're usually nurse practitioners that come to, like, God forbid, if you were in the hospital, like, they can be your person who can talk medically to whoever is treating you. So it is an add-on service, but many of the programs are encouraging that, and you can look it up as an extra thing.
I actually was part of that program.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I'm going to say though, I didn't have the best experience with it. So I think that it's a great program. I just maybe, if you guys are interested in like hearing an opposite perspective, definitely contact me.
Okay, all right, that's certainly fair. But we've had a lot of kids that have had good success. So everybody, in any case, you're going to find different opinions. Okay, any other questions that we can ask for you right now? Mom, dad, student?
I'd be interested in hearing a little bit more about like the internships, and I know this is a broad question, but just some examples of the types of things people do, or
Well, I don't know, our kid, students, were you on particular internships that you want to address? I know there's certainly, depending on the program that you choose, some have very traditional internships that are, from everywhere from working in childcare to working in kitchens to working in that, as Marnie said, food service and delivery, as well as technical internships. I've had people working in marketing. I've had people working, I had somebody who was interested in the classics, did archaeology digs. It all depends on the program you choose and the broad range in which they do. Some programs are very focused on internships, and some are focused on, say, what we call volunteer or HESED opportunities, a little different, that are more, you know, the internships are more, I would say, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, more career oriented, that kind of thing. So there you are.
I can talk a little bit about internship opportunities at Tortec at least. So I mean, at Tortec, it's called Tortec, but they're actually open to basically any type of like technical hands-on internship. The people that run the program are very, very well connected in the Tel Aviv community. So personally, I worked at a startup called Autofleet. I worked as a software engineer there. And what's really great is that they put you in places specifically where they know you're going to get a lot of work. So I did have a lot of responsibility there, and that was really, really nice. It's a good thing and a bad thing. Good thing because, you know, I had a major impact on the company. I was one of 4 developers there, and I got part of that. Bad thing because I have responsibilities and you can screw up and make big mistakes, and that's okay. And it's all part of the experience, of course. But I know that not everyone is, of course, interested in just technology and software and whatever it is. And I have friends in my year, as well as the previous year and this current year, who are in the program, who have internships at law firms and marketing companies. One of my friends worked in Ichilov Hospital doing cancer research. So there's really like a broad range. With my program specifically, they really try to put you in a space where you're going to be productive and actually learning things. They don't want you getting people coffee and printing out papers for people. That's really not what they want you to be doing with your time. But yeah, I would say it was like an incredibly productive year, and they really do go out of their way to find something that like you're very interested in. So I will say that.
Anybody else as we close out the program or this thing? You're certainly welcome to reach out to us beyond this, but any other questions that we can address right now? No? Well, I'm very glad that you joined us. We have some wonderful professionals that you can reach out and talk to, and our alums have been so helpful to us to being on this. We do these often. We team with MASA, we team with other groups to do programmatic things, so we'll keep you on our radar. We have a little video you can stay on and watch it. We'll play it on some of our very recent alums and about their experience. It was our end of year video from last year, and we can run that, and then you can feel free to watch it or leave, and reach out to us. We're here for you, and thank you so much for attending. So Dave, you can run the video and people can watch at their leisure, and then
Got it.
see you all.
Here we go.
This past year, I studied with Nativ in Israel, and it was an incredible experience because it strengthened my Jewish identity in the sense that all my life I've been learning about what Israel is, why should I care about it, why is it so important, how it's essential, all that kinds of stuff. And since I had all that prior knowledge, living in Israel this past year gave me a chance to apply it and to truly understand it.
Going to Israel allows you to determine who you are, what your values are, and a lot of people rush to college not knowing any of those things. Why not give yourself the opportunity to find out those things first and go into college, strong and know what you want to do. Most people go to college and their first year they're still determining all those things. They don't really know who they are. Also, going to Israel for the year, you gain so much independence living in a foreign country. I can't imagine a reality where I didn't go to Israel.
Hi everyone. So I think the most practical thing I gained in Israel this year was the ability to be independent and to have that freedom and to be very responsible with it. I think that it gave me the opportunity to cook my own food, do my own laundry, and I think that regardless of where you go, if you go to college or you go to Israel, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be things that you have to work through, but there's something about being in Israel for the year, being totally across the world from everything that you're comfortable with, that you're kind of forced to jump in full force and to expose yourself to not only the challenges of living on your own and meeting new people and the same things you would get in college, but you're living in a different country with a different language, and every single day you learn something new. And it's not just about the campus that you're on, but you learn something new about culture. You learn something new about like taking care of yourself, and that responsibility you can take anywhere you go. When you leave Israel, you go to college and you can apply all those skills that you learn.
So before going on my gap year program, I was quite apprehensive and nervous, especially because the days were so long, 9 a.m. till 10 p.m, a lot of learning, new people, new country, away from my family. But I was very quickly assured that none of these problems were that grand and everything was worth it in order to come to Israel and learn and just grow as a person, because the people around you are just there to support you. Your friends, your new friends, they just want the best for you. Your teachers, they want you to grow as much as you can in your learn as much as you can in your year abroad, and they're just there for you always, whatever you need. And as well as this, being in Israel wasn't as daunting as I thought, because as well, just people, everyone is just so welcoming, which is really, really great.
Most 18 or 19-year-old kids at our age, straight out of high school, do not know who they are as a person and what they want to accomplish with the rest of their life. What I do think is most important about spending your year after high school in Israel specifically, you get to fully immerse yourself in the Jewish-Israeli culture, and you get to come into your own person when you're living 6,000 miles away from your family, and you get to get a better idea of who you are as a person, which will in turn give you more clarity on what are the things you could accomplish with the rest of your life. And that is why I think the Israel experience is so amazing, and therefore you should check out a gap year, and you should come on a gap year as well. So thank you guys for watching.
All right, everyone. Thank you all for coming, and please once again feel free to reach out, and we're here for you. All the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome everyone to our parents panel for the Massa Israel
Oops,
Gap Year Fair.
oops.
We're so excited to have such amazing.
That was our last one. Dave, can you turn that down, please?
Sorry.
Yeah, we also did one with Massa Israel, so you'll see us all together very shortly on other programs. All the best, everybody. Thank you, alums.